The city made its pitch to the district about its plan to build the freeway known as the Centennial Corridor. 29 Eyewitness News reporter Jose Gaspar is here with what the district had to say about that. Jose?
Linda, the Curtin High School district raised a lot of questions about possibly putting a freeway right next to the campus, and in fact, it would take out 22 classrooms. The proposed Centennial Corridor, as the city calls it, would be 8 lanes of traffic going right along the northern end of Bakersfield High. City Public Works Director Raul Rojas made his pitch about the city's idea to the Curtin High School District Board of Trustees.
What we have is we have a corridor that we need to build at some point, and we have options that are available to us.
One of those options is to have the east-west running freeway just north of BHS, and it would take out the shops building, which has 22 classrooms and a new weight room.
One of the biggest issues is the current shop building. And of course, we are dealing with federal funds, and through the federal funds, we would have to purchase that building, and we would have to make you whole.
School board trustees listened carefully to what the city had to say. Sam Thomas raised the issue of student safety. Chad Vegas asked if the freeway violated any laws being so close to a school. But the city says all this is very preliminary. The project is 3 to 7 years away from beginning, and it would have to meet a host of other challenges, like purchasing a railroad yard just west of the school for the project to go forward.
Well, of course, they're going to want full mitigation for any impact that they suffer if the project is built as was indicated. So as long as the district can continue to provide the service and have their impacts mitigated, hopefully there'll be a meeting of the minds and the project will be able to go forward.
The city has one other plan it is considering and says if neither of these two plans work out, it might have to start considering new ones. Kurt?
How would you feel about a freeway near your school? That would be the reality if the city moves forward with current plans to build Centennial Corridor. Tonight, city officials making a presentation to Curtin High School District trustees at their regular meeting. 17's Maya Sanchez joins us live now with more on that information.
Galen, city officials have 2 proposals on the table to build a connecting freeway running east and west, one segment on the north side of Bakersfield High School or one on the south side. But if you don't like the idea of a freeway next to your child's school, there's a third option being discussed, moving the school altogether.
Imagine you're watching the Drillers play a home game. The stands are filled with students and alumni. On the field, a winning football team, only you're not at the current site of Bakersfield High School. You're at the new BHS campus, somewhere in Bakersfield. Moving the school away from the proposed Centennial Corridor was an option brought up by a representative of the State Department of Education at the Curtin High School District meeting.
We want the best for students and in the educational environment. And, you know, BHS has been here a long time, and we have a lot to consider.
City Public Works Director Raul Rojas outlined 2 proposals for building the Centennial Corridor, an east-west strip of freeway connecting 178 with the West Side Parkway on either the north or south side of BHS. Trustees had various concerns, including air quality, safety, losing 22 classrooms, which would be replaced, a noise barrier, that is, a wall, which might lure taggers. But in order to realize either proposal, the city must purchase land from the railroad, an area which could be contaminated.
These are 2 proposals that we know of that can work. As part of the environmental stage, we'll be required to look at any other proposals or any other options, and we will do that. So no, none of this is set in stone.
Now, tonight's presentation was strictly informational. Construction on the Centennial Corridor isn't due for at least 7 years. Alexia?
The city of Bakersfield is in the middle of a freeway expansion project that would allow residents to travel from one part of town to the other. But there is concern the Centennial Corridor could cut straight through the historic school. 29 Eyewitness News reporter Melissa McGee has more on how this could affect you. Melissa?
Rusty, the Centennial Corridor has been in the works for 20 years and would alleviate some of the bottleneck on city streets. The Curtin High School District was approached about the idea a few years ago, and if the city gets its way, Bakersfield High School would be affected. The Centennial Corridor would be a continuation of the West Side Parkway, which would enable travel from the west side of town into downtown without going through all the side streets. The corridor would be a major one and would eventually connect to Highway 178. The city of Bakersfield says one of the freeway options would be to cut through the campus of Bakersfield High School. Officials from the Kern High School District will hear the city's proposal on Monday. They tell 29 Eyewitness News they are concerned the Centennial Corridor project could impact student safety and education, but they say they plan to work together with the city.
It would go from the West Side Parkway, which travels from the west side all the way into downtown, under 99, along the railroad tracks, and up to about Union Avenue, and to turn north and connect eventually to the 178 and a full interchange, which would allow full freeway access across town.
We feel like that we're going to be able to work with the city of Bakersfield on this, and that we'll be able to come up with a mutually beneficial plan that will benefit the city of Bakersfield and enhance the educational opportunities of the students at Bakersfield High.
Now, the city of Bakersfield says having the Centennial Corridor cut through downtown Bakersfield would be the preferred option, but there are others to consider. The city plans to present their proposal to the Kern High School District this Monday. 29 Eyewitness News will keep you informed. Back to you.
Downtown Bakersfield will impact Bakersfield High School. The Central Corridor would run right alongside the campus. 17 Sandra Gonzalez live at BHS tonight with more on this freeway project and what folks are saying about it. Sandra?
Jim, it's in the infancy stages, but one plan may endanger the building behind me. The Industrial Arts building is on the north side of campus, and it runs right in the way of one of the proposed paths for the Centennial Corridor. But the city says that's only one plan.
It was not our intent to have the institution moved or any of that. We want to work with the board. We need to know what their issues are and how we can remedy those and mitigate that.
The first plan is to build the freeway just north of the Burlington Northern Santa Fe rail yard, which is also alongside the Bakersfield High School campus. The second plan would be to build the freeway through the railroad property and through the BHS Industrial Arts building. The principal of the school says he understands the city's needs to help with Bakersfield's growth, but at the same time, he wants to preserve his campus. Meanwhile, the idea of tearing down the Industrial Arts building is not setting well with some students.
I think it's messed up. We just got the new weight room in there, and it looks pretty good compared to the last one, too. So it's real, I don't know, I think they shouldn't do it.
That's part of our history. That's what this school is about. We don't need new things. We could use new supplies, things like that, but we don't need a new building.
The city, however, stresses the future freeway is many years away and that there will be environmental reports and input from the public. Now, the City Public Works Department will meet with Burlington Northern to start talks about buying the project for the future freeway. Live at Bakersfield High School, Sandra Gonzalez, 17 News.
The Kern High School District concerned the Centennial Corridor would include 8 lanes of traffic going right along the northern end of Bakersfield High School. In a Kern High School District meeting held last night, the City Public Works Director suggested one option would be to have the east-west freeway run just north of BHS, taking out the shops buildings, which has 22 classrooms and a new weight room. The city says the project is still 3 to 7 years away and is still in the preliminary stages.